No lives matter. So it's straight war. I'll be real with you. It's war. We're at war. This isn't like I said. There's no friends at war. So I respect the guy. As you said, he's done well. All that good stuff. But we're fighting.
To fight? No, as of yet, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to go get my head bashed in. Sparring is sparring, and we can see some sort of technicality being shown. Now, a lot of people are calling it fake. They're saying that it's set up.
Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think he's proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight.
Boom. The illusion cracks the moment Anthony Joshua speaks, ripping apart Jake Paul's so-called knockout sparring clips and calling them polished theater rather than real combat. Joshua fires back by saying true sparring is brutal, balanced, and unforgiving, where both fighters test limits, take shots, and learn under pressure. He warns that cameras can lie, but the ring never does, and fight night will expose everything. While dismissing the staged highlights, Joshua still keeps his composure, acknowledging Paul's courage to step in and his right to respect. This isn't trash talk, it's a challenge, a reminder that hype fades fast when fists fly, and only authenticity, timing, and power decide who survives when the bell rings for real warriors.
The boxer?
Yeah, definitely. He's always wanted to be a boxer. He's got a stand-up game. I respect him as a boxer.
Analysts are now tearing into Jake Paul's sparring footage, arguing that it's carefully edited to showcase only dramatic knockout moments while hiding everything else. They claim selective clips don't reveal real stamina, defense, or adaptability under sustained pressure. Critics insist that to judge any fighter fairly, at least 3 or 4 full, uninterrupted rounds should be shown, not flashy highlights designed for hype. Another concern raised is the level of the sparring partner, with experts noting that the boxer Paul dropped lacked elite skill, speed, and defensive awareness, making him far easier to catch than a top-level heavyweight. These doubts fuel a bigger question: how much truth can be pulled from polished snippets? Until complete sessions are released, skeptics believe Paul's true readiness remains unclear, and his ability to perform against world-class opposition stays unproven beyond carefully curated social media moments crafted for clicks, not competitive reality alone.
Videos. That I agree with that. If we're going to see that clip of you knocking this guy down, we want to see at least a full round. We want to see what you're actually doing. If you're going to show us knocking this guy down, show us more. Is his opponent any good? Okay, that's another very good question. His opponent may just be, and we couldn't really see much of him there. He didn't really throw a shot. His opponent might be a nobody. His opponent might be a guy who started box fit a few weeks ago. So that's a very good point. Things like this we have to actually ask when we, boxers essentially putting up videos of them knocking people out. Who is this guy? You need to know that, because then that kind of qualifies that knockout or knockdown to be good or bad. Cheap shot.
Andrew Tate weighs in on Jake Paul's sparring sessions with a blunt assessment, claiming the heavyweights involved are clearly not going full throttle. He explains that real sparring is meant to test reactions, pressure, and survival instincts, but these sessions look restrained. According to Tate, the fighters are being paid by Paul, which changes the dynamic completely. Their objective becomes completing the workout, not pushing him into uncomfortable territory or risking damage. As a result, punches lack true venom, defensive pressure is lighter, and the chaos of a real fight is missing. Tate stresses that while this kind of controlled sparring can help Paul rehearse combinations and movement, it fails to recreate the danger, intensity, and unpredictability of facing a truly competitive elite opponent who is actively trying to dominate, expose weaknesses, and win at all costs under real fire.
That's everything wrong with the sport.
I think as a boxing purist, it's quite upsetting to watch, young fighters struggle to pay the bills and struggle in little shithole gyms around the country trying to get big money fights and going through the Olympics and going through the amateurs and not being able to pay their bills. And I understand how frustrating that can be. So I think that's where the frustration comes from. I don't think it's everything that's wrong with boxing. I think that anything that gets people to tune in to a boxing match is good for the sport.
One more comment that he said was, Jake's been sparring Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight. So are they trying to knock Jake out? No. But are they giving him enough work for him to learn?
Gareth A. Davies pulled no punches when challenging Duke over the Jake Paul narrative, issuing a stark warning that Paul could end up running like a thief in the night once reality hits. Davies drew on the chilling memory of the brutal knockout he witnessed Francis Ngannou suffer, using it as proof of how unforgiving heavyweight power truly is. He stressed that this matchup is far more dangerous for Paul than fans and hype merchants want to admit. Stepping into the ring with a seasoned, battle-hardened heavyweight like Anthony Joshua, Davies argued, exposes Paul to levels of speed, timing, and concussive force he has never experienced. According to Davies, this won't feel like a spectacle or social media moment once the bell rings. The illusion will shatter instantly, turning the fight into a genuine survival test where mistakes are punished violently and respect is earned the hard way under real fire.
Go on, I watched him knock out Francis Ngannou inside 2 rounds.
Yeah.
How couldn't that go 3 rounds with
Well,
Jake Paul?
It's very hard to knock out somebody that just hasn't come to fight and somebody that's just trying to survive. And that's what I think will happen to
Do you
Jake
think
Paul.
he'll run?
I think he'll run like a thief in the night. Once he sees the size of Joshua, those little 10-ounce gloves that they're going to be wearing, he's going to be petrified and his backside will fall out.
I went to the press conference in Miami for that a couple of weeks ago, and he was planning to motorboat AJ, and he thought differently of it when he was standing with him. No, AJ was, he'd have got motorboated out of there.
Mate, good luck with that, because if he starts that with AJ, puts his chin out and starts trying to goad him in, I think Anthony Joshua definitely iron him out early.
Do you think he finishes his boxing career then?
Let's hope so.
If Jake Paul does something weird and wins,
That would
is
be...
that possible?
Nothing's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Highly unlikely, but not impossible.
If you'd been invited to fight Jake Paul for 25, I've heard it's 25 million. That's me behind the scenes. Other people have told me it's 60. Other people have told me it's more for Anthony Joshua. If you had been a current world champion and you'd been offered that fight with Jake Paul, would you have taken it?
100%.
So he had to take it.
He had to take
So
it.
you've got nothing against him taking
I've
it.
got nothing against him taking it, spending the money even. Still got nothing against that. My concern is for the health and safety of Jake Paul and the sport of boxing.
Because boxing will be pulled into the dock if something happens to Jake. He's never been licensed.
Jake Paul has been loud about the brutality of his latest training camp, insisting that rounds with top-tier heavyweights have pushed him to physical limits. In interviews, he admits walking away bruised, drained, and even suffering a nose injury, using those marks as proof of growth. However, the sparring footage released tells a more layered story than the knockout clips dominating promotion. Analysts reviewing the sessions point out moments where partners appear to sell punches, reacting dramatically to shots that lacked full impact. In several exchanges, opponents drifted toward the ropes after relatively light contact, raising eyebrows about authenticity. Critics argue these highlights are designed to impress casual fans rather than reflect true in-ring effectiveness. They caution that controlled reactions, selective angles, and edited sequences cannot replicate real danger. Against a fighter like Anthony Joshua, experience, timing, and destructive power create a completely different reality. Observers warn that what looks convincing on social media may collapse under genuine pressure, where punches land without mercy, defenses close fast, and mistakes are punished instantly. In that environment, preparation means survival.
Couple millimeters. I'm not gonna lie, the sparring, the heavyweights, my nose has a slight little something in there. The guy by the name of Frank Sanchez, he definitely cracked it a little bit. But yeah, man, it's bad. Wait, hold on. Look at that, dude. It's like Squidward, dog. But don't respect me for getting in there. Respect me when I beat his ass. If I'm just walking into a fight, I'm going to win. That's what's gonna shock the world. I will become king of boxing.
As the debate around Jake Paul's knockout sparring clips intensifies, analysts continue to question how authentic those moments really are, pointing out exaggerated reactions, opponents drifting toward the ropes after light shots, and knockdowns that raise more doubt than clarity. Many argue that in real boxing, you instantly recognize the shot that does the damage, whether it's a clean body punch or a crushing hook, and hesitation usually signals something is off. While critics label parts of the footage sketchy, B.J. Flores adds crucial context, explaining that Paul's ambition has clearly shifted from novelty fights to testing himself against legitimate professional heavyweights. Unlike past opponents, Anthony Joshua represents a monumental leap in danger, skill, size, and experience, something even Flores admits looks extremely premature on paper. Joshua is a gold medalist, a multiple-time world champion, and one of the most devastating punchers of this era, making this matchup brutally unforgiving. Further concerns arise over Paul's choice of sparring partners, with analysts arguing that none truly replicate Joshua's explosive power, timing, and pressure. Rumors of injuries in camp, including a reported black eye, only fuel fears that the physical cost could outweigh the financial reward. Yet others highlight the massive exposure and cultural impact, noting that Paul understands the business, the spectacle, and the attention this fight guarantees. Whether this is a legacy gamble or a career-threatening mistake remains the central question. One thing is clear: when the bell rings, hype disappears and only levels remain. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe right now for more hard-hitting boxing analysis, and stay tuned because this story is far from over.